Welcome to Penny for Your Shots, Conversations and Cocktails with Brilliant Women, the podcast where we uncork the stories and insights of exceptional female leaders from all walks of life. Our goal is to serve up wisdom, tips, and inspiration, and to support each other in rediscovering ourselves and what sets our souls on fire. We'll also share personal memories, paired with friends and a favorite beverage. I'm your host, Penny Fitzgerald, and I believe that the best stories are served up over a glass of wine or a cocktail. So grab a glass, get comfy, and let's pour ourselves into Penny for Your Shots. When Erica Carrico was diagnosed with cancer as a young mom, everything changed. In the quiet moments of breastfeeding her baby, she found herself reflecting on life, purpose, and what truly mattered. And what followed was a radical life shift, leaving behind the path she thought she should follow and stepping into the purpose she was born for. In this heartfelt conversation, Erica shares how that quiet clarity became a $1 million coaching business, and how you too can turn pain into purpose and dreams into legacy. If you've ever felt stuck in the shoulds or wondered if it's too late to start over, this episode will speak straight to your soul. Here is Erica Carrico. It's so great to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Where are you located?
I am in the Denver area.
In Denver. Wonderful.
How about you?
Wow. I'm currently in Iowa.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Yeah, kind of central US, and then sometimes in Sarasota, Florida. So
Okay. Where in Iowa? My whole family, my parents are both from Iowa, and I went to Iowa State.
Really? Oh, go Cyclones. We're big Cyclone fans.
Same. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're I currently live in Newhall.
Okay. Yeah.
Eastern Iowa, near Cedar Rapids. My husband grew up in Eastern Iowa. You have people in Cedar Rapids?
My mom. She's in Robbins.
Robbins. Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Yeah, my daughter we lived in Marion actually when my daughter was born. So she was born at Mercy Hospital in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
I know.
That's so fun.
Yeah, that's really
for sure. Yeah, and I grew up in North Central Iowa in a small farm town of 2,500 people.
Yeah, my dad grew up on a farming town or on a farm outside of Adel, so same kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we were meant to meet at some point or another.
Definitely. Yeah, Iowa people are the best. Midwest people are the best people.
Wow, what a small world.
It is. So that is a really small world. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, Erica, tell us a little bit about you, your journey. You have started your own business, but you went through some things to get there, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I was that typical person where I knew I didn't want to have a traditional life, but I also was always playing a tug of war with my mind and my heart was telling me that I wanted to travel and see the world. And, I definitely did do that. I've been to over and backpacked through over 50 different countries, but there was also that part of my mind that was telling me what society always tells us. You need to get a real job. You need to start earning money. You need to get married. You need to have a family. And so I ended up around 27 kind of falling into that pattern and landed in corporate America. I was in corporate recruitment for quite a while. And, long story short, did the whole corporate burnout situation. And my fiance, who I did end up marrying later at the time, we left Australia. We were living in Australia and we did a year-long trip around the world. And I knew on that trip, we went through a lot of developing countries, and I really realized that I couldn't go back to corporate. And I didn't want to slave away earning millions of dollars for a company that already had millions of dollars. And so I wanted to start my own business as a coach. I had seen a life coach before. My undergraduate degree is in psychology. I always wanted to be in the personal development space. I've been a personal development junkie since I can remember. And on that trip, we got engaged, and he was like, and my whole family and his whole family were like, you can't start your business, especially not as a coach. Life coaches, they don't make any money, and we're getting ready to start a family. You need to have a real job, right? So I did what I thought was the safe thing, and I took out a $60,000 loan, went and got my master's degree in nonprofit management. So then I became the executive director of a not-for-profit organization earning $29,000 a year. And that,
oh my gosh,
that was that was what I should have done, right? So I did it. And I felt like things were going well because I was making a difference in the world. I finally felt like I was having impact, but I was still building someone else's dream, and I was still speaking someone else's work and raising money for someone else's dream. And it was like I knew I had this inside of me and I wasn't putting it out there. I was too afraid, all the things. We had kids at this point, and you know, I had another round of depression and of anxiety, and boom, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer when I was 36 and still breastfeeding my daughter. And that
Oh,
was a
wow.
huge wake up call for me when I really realized that I was living life for everybody else. And the way that I was living life by just ignoring and pushing down my dreams and my desires and what was, I felt, trying to come out, it just created this toxicity in my body. And I feel like my body just kind of started turning on itself. So that was when everything changed. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to live. I don't even know if I'm going to be here. I don't know how long I have left, but I am not going to spend the rest of my life doing what I feel I should be doing. Like, what is the point of that? That's not why I'm here. And so I went on this real journey of shedding all of what was no longer serving me and really only building my life up with things that intentionally are. And so I left my job. Well, I started my business first, and then I left my job a year later. It just really took off. Now it's like this multi-million dollar company that
Nice.
impacts thousands of women around the world. Yeah. So that
Oh,
happened, and I left my marriage, and yeah, I let go of a lot of friends. I put a
wow.
lot of boundaries in place. And yeah, it's just been quite a journey. I think 5 years, 6 years later, my life is completely different than it was before.
Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations
Thank you.
on taking that leap of faith. Because I think a lot of us, we get stuck in the fears and we let those, the limiting beliefs and, you know, doing things for others
Yeah.
come first.
Yeah. Too
Wow.
often.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Well, and traditionally it's the safe bet, like you were saying, to go into business for someone else. But really, probably 50 years ago, that might have been safer because
Right.
there was loyalty and there's not anymore.
Right.
Plus,
Yeah.
now I feel like, do you feel too that you're following a calling? Like this is for
Oh, yeah.
a way to serve people that you were seeing needed served.
Yeah, definitely. That was one of I almost made this, well, I did make this promise to God where it was, if I can get through this when I was going through my cancer experience, if I
Mhm.
get through this, I will spend the rest of my life being of service in the way that I know that I'm here to be of service.
Wow.
And that is how my whole business was birthed and has now grown into.
Wow. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
A mandate from God.
Yeah, a mandate from God. And ironically, they say we teach what we need to learn, right? So ironically, my
Right.
whole business is around helping women to, well, and men, I suppose, to discover their life purpose. What are you here for? What are your divine gifts? What is your original medicine that you're here to share with the world? And
Mhm.
then, the next step is how can you earn a living doing that? And how can you make a profit
Mm,
from it while you're
right.
impacting others? So I
Right.
sort of created this whole business based on what I needed to learn. And what I really spent years trying to figure out.
Wow. Can we back up a second too? I want to hear more about, okay, you went to Iowa State
Hmm.
undergrad, but you ended up in Australia early on.
I did.
What took you to Australia? How did that come about?
Yeah. Well, I had the travel bug from when I was real
Yeah.
little, and I ended up doing a study abroad program when I was at Iowa State, and I went to
Oh,
University of Newcastle in Australia. So I lived there
okay.
for a semester, and then
Oh,
ended up traveling on the back end of that to New Zealand and went to Thailand and Indonesia. And that just really sparked it for me. So after I graduated from college, I spent some time backpacking around Europe and did like I think I did like 22 countries in Europe, and came back, moved to Denver. And, 5 years later, I sort of had this like midlife crisis of if I don't, if I don't do something different right now, this is going to be my life. I was very settled. I had an apartment. I did have a job. I was in corporate recruitment at the time. I had my friend circle. I had a boyfriend, and I just was like, this can't be my life forever. Like I'm not done traveling. I want to go out there and I want to have more of a cooler
wow.
life than what I've had so far. So I was in corporate recruitment, and I had a friend that I had met traveling in Europe who was also in corporate recruitment in Sydney, and her company sponsored me to come over. So I actually got a visa
Oh,
to move over. Yeah, I thought I would stay for 2 years. I ended up meeting and marrying an Australian, and stayed for 10. and then didn't come back to the
Okay.
States until 10 years later.
Wow. Wow. And so the backpacking journey in Europe, that a part of a Peace Corps thing or just a wanderlust kind
It
of,
was
you
a
just wanted to
wanderlust.
go?
I just wanted to go. Yep. So I went by myself. It
Yes.
was a wild
Oh my
experience.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And okay. So coming from an older woman,
Yeah.
it sounds so brave and so exciting, to be a single person. Or did you meet friends along the way and be able
I
to
did.
travel together? And
Yeah, definitely
yeah.
met friends along the way and kind of stuck with the same crew for once I met up. I think, yeah, for the first few weeks, I was pretty solo. And then I met up with a crew that I ended up traveling with the rest of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great way to meet friends.
Yeah, it was. They're still my friends today. Like they become
Oh,
lifelong friends. So, and they're
oh
the ones I
yeah.
ended up going back to Australia and living in Australia with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you are coaching people now in how to find their purpose and joy and to move towards their purpose.
Yep, I've got a course that I've created. It started as a one-on-one coaching program back in
Mhm.
2016. Then it turned into a group program, and now it's more of an online course. And actually, my book just came out a few weeks ago
Oh, that's exciting.
about it as well. So yeah, I've developed a process that now at this point, thousands of people have gone through, and it just works of really getting clear. It's like a soulful journey. So really stripping back the layers of societal conditioning and remembering who you are at soul level. And then
Hmm.
there's the second half of the course or the program or the book even is around, it's like a career coaching process almost of taking you through
Okay.
and really choosing and evaluating what businesses you want to start. And then it has you go through like this selection of kind of weeding them out, narrowing it down and ranking them all. And you really end up getting 100% clarity around a business that you're going to start or a side hustle or even moving it into a new career that is 100% aligned with your purpose and you having impact in the world in your unique way while also living the lifestyle that you want to live too. So there's a lot of things we have to take into consideration. Like I moved into the executive director of a not-for-profit organization, which was definitely fulfilling on some levels, but was never going to allow me to live the lifestyle on $29,000 a year, right? Like, so there
Right.
was a real misalignment there. This whole process really keeps people from making that kind of a mistake. So they hopefully only have to make the shift once.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about kids in college and going through that process and deciding you have to decide when you're what you want to do the rest of your life.
That's the pressure people put on you. That's the societal
Exactly.
pressure, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Well,
what
and if you,
they might even want to do doesn't might not even exist. What I do right now would not have even been possible when I was even in college because we didn't have the internet.
right,
Right?
exactly. Yeah, and you can create so many things with just, if you open up your heart and think about what am I capable of? Not what I'm, because we don't know what we're capable of until we push ourselves or
Sure.
until we step out of that comfort zone, and most of us
Right.
don't.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I think about that being, the safety zone again, going back to, okay, when you're thinking about what you want to be when you grow up, whatever age you are, when that happens,
Right.
40 or 50 or 60,
Yeah.
um, you, if you limit yourself because of all the things that you've done in the past,
Hmm.
and you may not know what's available, you may not know what things pay.
Right.
Like even in the corporate world, you might have a good paying corporate job, but if it's sucking your soul dry,
Right.
you know?
And a lot of times too, what I found in corporate was, yeah, it was sucking my soul dry. And I had to be there at like 7:30 in the morning. And we
Mm,
literally had to stay at our desks until 6:30 at night. So great when you're in your 20s, but what about when you want to have a family? So there's
right.
all these things that the process that I help take people through gets you clear on all of that. Like you actually research so that you know what that's going to look like. And I have all these different prompts that I walk you through also so that you
Mm,
know what questions to ask, what to research, what to look for. And
huh?
then you kind of rank, you put your non-negotiables in and you rank like, would this job or would this business allow me to, work from anywhere, for example, or set my own
Mm-hmm.
hours or whatever is really important to you.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, part of what I do too is help women, entrepreneurs mainly, see that, okay, here's a limiting belief that I have that I didn't know I had.
Mhm.
and let's break through that so I can move towards my purpose.
Yeah.
So it sounds very much aligned with, well, first you're helping people find their purpose and
Yeah.
define it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And you've been doing this since 2016.
Yeah.
That's really brought a lot of clarity.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite
Yeah.
a journey.
Don't you feel too that when you start working or walking towards your dream or toward what lights your soul on fire, that really brings the clarity? Then you know what to do next. And you may not know in the beginning.
Yeah. And it'll change and evolve too. I always look at it
Mm-hmm.
as like our purpose is kind of like an onion. And I think there's many ways that we can express our purpose out into the world, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
an onion. And the more that we peel off the layers, the more we get to know ourselves at a deeper level. And then our work
Yeah.
obviously evolves and changes out there based on the knowledge that we have of ourselves
Wow.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you did all this after your cancer diagnosis.
Yeah. Hmm.
So did you go through chemo at the time too, and all of the health things that you had to be aware of and all of
Yeah.
it?
I did not. I did have the surgery. So I had a big
Mm-hmm.
tumor. They took half of one of my kidneys and then removed the cancer that way. And I did
Mm-hmm.
not go through chemo and radiation. I knew if my body created the cancer, there was a
Mm-hmm.
reason, and that if I didn't do something different, from like an energetic perspective, a physical perspective, an emotional perspective, I knew my body would just recreate it. And I didn't want to put the toxins into my body. So I
Mm-hmm.
did not do chemo and radiation. And I really took a healing journey, mind, body, soul. I changed everything I really learned to love myself at a cellular level. And I think that was kind of the foundation of all the work that I did, and changed what I was putting into my body, changed how I was talking to myself internally. I was very healthy and I was, very into exercise and fitness, but I think I was just so critical. I did not have self-love at the time. I was very, I was a perfectionist and very hard on myself and picked apart my body. And yeah, it was a journey it was a life changer for sure.
Mm. Wow. Can you tell me more about how you made that shift to be more mindful of what you put in your body, and how did you navigate that? Because I feel like Americans, especially, were just kind of becoming more aware of, like microplastics and some of these things that are in the environment that we're trying to avoid and be more healthy and be more natural.
Right.
How
Yeah.
did you navigate that through all of that?
Lots of reading books and lots of, yeah, listening to podcasts. And Louise Hay was a really big guide for me. She has a book that was really helpful. It's called You Can Heal Your Life. And that was a great book for me. I read that many times over. I'm trying to remember what other books I read, but yeah, I think once I really learned to, I think, love myself on a cellular level and recognize like how magical my body is, even just the
Mm,
simplest things. It's like how our heart just beats without us asking, and how we're constantly breathing without, I mean, our body is so amazing, and it's so easy to pick us apart and say, I don't like this, and I don't like this, and I don't like this. But it's like, wow,
mm,
we birth children and we heal ourselves and we get cut and it grows back together. I mean, really just kind of being grateful for the small things and recognizing when my mind is going into any kind of a negative loop
mm,
or that critical space, I
mm-hmm,
can pull it out. And over years and years and years of trying to practice that, I don't have those negative thoughts about my body anymore. They're just not there. Whereas that was pretty much like 100% of my thoughts in the beginning. And
wow.
through that feeling, it's like you put different, I don't have a problem with my weight anymore. And I did before, because the things that I would put in my body, I was eating for comfort, or the things I would put in my body weren't super healthy. And now it's like, I don't want to put certain things in my body because I don't like how it makes me feel, or I don't want to put that in my body because I know what it's going to do to my cells, right? So it's just
Mm-hmm,
it's not from a place of, I can't have this. It's a place of, I actually just don't want,
mm,
so everything shifts, I think, when you really start to love and appreciate yourself, at a spiritual, emotional, and physical level.
wow. Yeah, that's a big shift
It was a
going
big
from I
shift.
can't have that to, wow, I feel so good when I eat this way
Right.
or think this way.
Yeah, and I still, like last night I had a milkshake with my kids, and it's fine. I don't think about it. And I don't have a
Uh-huh.
problem when I do. So it's like, if I'm going to choose that, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
choose it. I'm going to enjoy it, and I probably won't want one for another few days or weeks or whatever. So it's also, I think, a healthy balance too.
Yeah. It's not limiting. It's not a barrier.
Right. Yeah. Whereas before it'd be like,
Oh,
oh my gosh, I had a milkshake. I have to work out hard the next day and I can't have X more calories than this. And
oh, geez.
I was in that space before my
Yeah.
experience. And now it's not.
Restrictive.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Wow. Sidebar,
Yeah.
Louise Hayes started her business at 60.
I know that. I tell that to everybody because so many people are like, it's too late for me. And I have like
Nope.
70-year-old women in my business building program, and they
Uh-huh.
are literally like starting their business at this stage of life. And
I
I
love
always
it.
share that example of Louise Hay. And she had I think it was like a billion-dollar company when she passed away, Hay House.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Our only limitation is really us. We get in our own way so much.
yeah, definitely. We do. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Okay. So do you do like group coaching? Is it just one-on-one? You have the course, but
Yep.
how do you present that?
So the Awaken Your Purpose course is a self-guided course. So you can go as
Mhm.
quickly. Some people move through it in as quickly as 3 or 4 weeks. Some people maybe take a month or two. So that's self-guided. And then my business building program is called Soul Business Accelerator, and that
Mm,
is a hybrid program. So lots of private coaching, group coaching, private Facebook group modules. That one's more of yeah, we build your business with you over the course of a year. And then I usually have like 4 or 5 private coaching clients as well. And those are
mm,
more women who are scaling to, putting in more passive revenue or passive, I guess, marketing in
mm,
place so that they're scaling to that $1 million mark.
mm.
So there's, I guess, 3 levels that people come in and work with me.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you love group coaching? I do.
Yeah, I do like the group. It's definitely special. I love the
Uh-huh.
sisterhood and seeing women
Yep.
support women. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of love in group coaching for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, what one person is struggling with or what a question one person might have, another person might have it or will have it down the road
Yeah.
and just doesn't know it yet
Right.
or is maybe afraid to ask. So it really brings out a lot of good for everyone in the group.
Yeah. And sometimes women just jump on the calls to listen to other people's questions and they get so much
Hmm.
from that. So that happens a lot too.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. So, um, what about retreats? Do you run retreats or any of that
There's
kind
an
of thing?
in-person, yeah, I do it twice a year. I do an in-person. It's only available for current clients and students. So
Uh-huh.
I actually just had one. There was like, I think 15. We capped it at 15 because I do them in my home. So people flew
Oh,
in from
nice.
everywhere. Yeah. And then it's so nice to have them here. And we do it over the course of 2 days and really do a deep dive into each of their businesses and where they're at and what they're struggling with. And they each create something while they're here. So yeah, we do that twice a year as well, which is really,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, there's something magical about being on site with the
Mhm.
group. And yeah, you can really do a deep dive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then I think they become close as well because they have that
Uh-huh.
experience together. Like they're staying together and they're eating together and they're having dinner together and they're working together
Yeah.
and collaborating. And yeah, it develops that bond that I think lasts for a long time. Like I think they've all got WhatsApp chat groups that they
Oh,
past our past our time
yeah.
together. Yeah, it's really
Oh
sweet.
gosh. Yeah. When you do your group coaching or when you do any of your coaching, um, it's a year program that you have them in,
Yeah, the business
basically.
building
Okay.
program is a year-long program. Yeah, it usually
Okay.
takes about a year. And we have women that come in and they're starting from scratch. They just have an idea of what they want to do. And we help them
Hmm.
really put everything in place, create their offer, price their packages, put their website in place, put all their marketing in place for them. And then we have women that are already earning 6 figures in their business and they don't have the consistency. So they want some consistent marketing to either add another 6 figures to their bottom line, or they just don't want to rely on referrals or social media. So then
Hmm.
we put these other strategies in place. So it's all levels of women are in there.
Wow, that's awesome. It
Yeah.
sounds start to finish too. You are helping them from
Yes.
concept to execution and everything
Concept
in
to
between.
Yep, it's a six-figure business. It's called Soul Business Accelerator, your six-figure roadmap. So it essentially gets women from zero to 8, 10, 12,000 a month in their business
Wow.
consistently.
Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. Then they can quit their jobs and have their impact and live their purpose full time, usually
Yeah.
at that level.
Think about the ripple effect too when you're helping women at that level,
Yeah.
and then that trickles down to their people and who they serve.
Yeah, well, that was, I when I was going through my cancer experience, it was like I kind of had this, I went through this phase where it was like I wanted to be the healer and I wanted to be the medicine worker. And I just kept getting this clear message of like, no, you're meant to coach and guide the healers and the medicine
Mm,
workers. So, I work with like functional medicine specialists all the way to psychics, to mediums, to plant medicine practitioners. I mean, all of it, a wide range of coaches and speakers and alternative therapists, all of it. And it's so great to know that when they're out there doing their work, that's how I'm having impact is like all of their
mm.
clients are also receiving, the healing. So yeah, that
Wow.
was very clear for me, and very intentionally designed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I go back to the bravery that it would take to do that. Because, okay, so when you're going through your journey, you've got your cancer diagnosis and you're trying to make ends meet,
Yeah.
and you've got two daughters, correct?
I have a son. Yep. And then I was breastfeeding my daughter when I was diagnosed.
Sorry, two kids, a son and a daughter.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. As a listener, I'm just thinking about, the what you must have felt to know, okay, I've got this thing I'm fighting and I know it's not right. I mean, how did you take a step back and listen and be able to receive that information about this is what I need to do? And I mean, how did you go through that?
Yeah. Well, I think breastfeeding I was like devastated that that was happening to me while I was breastfeeding, but it was actually really great because I had so much time because you sit there with your baby a lot,
Oh,
and
uh-huh.
you sit there and you think, shoot, my baby, neither of my kids ever took a bottle. So I did every single feed. And so for, multiple times a day, I'm sitting there for a long time. And I would just think and I would pray and there was this one time where I don't remember if I was putting her to bed or down for a nap, but I was rocking her and I just remember looking down at her and her big blue eyes just looked up and she
Mm,
just smiled at me and I burst into tears and I just was like, why is this happening to me? And why is this happening to me now? And am I going to live or am I going to die? Like, what is going to happen to me? And what do I do? And it was like very clear. I actually write about this in my book. It was very clear. I heard the words remission, remission. And it was like, I'm not in
oh,
remission.
wow.
I said that out loud. I was like, I'm not in remission. And it said remission, remember your mission, remember why you're here. And it was like
Wow.
remission was remember your mission to me. And it was like, wow. I have gotten so far away. I knew as a child what I was here for. I knew that I was here to serve and make a difference in the world and I wasn't doing that anymore and I wasn't doing that in my way and I knew that and so that was a very clear moment of like okay, whatever, however long I have left, I will be of service. And I had always had the calling to be a life coach in some capacity or whatever, so I enrolled in a coaching program, like I think it might have been the next day, and started like 2 weeks later. And
Hmm.
yeah, and off to the races. So
No. Yeah, the way you heard that word,
yeah,
remission.
so bizarre. I mean, you couldn't make
Mm,
that up if you tried.
no.
Um,
And
yeah,
that you heard it,
I heard
that you
it.
heard
I
it.
heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
said out loud, like, I'm not in remission. I don't know that I'm in
Hmm.
remission.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you meditate?
I used to. I'm really bad at
Uh-huh.
it right now, but definitely for a very long time there, I did. And so I'll still do, like if I'm tired during the day, I'll take a 20-minute, like a 20-minute or 30-minute power nap, and I'll listen to a guided meditation or I am
Hmm.
affirmations a lot.
Nice.
If I'll do guided meditations, if I'm like sitting in my sauna or whatever. But for when I was healing for the first 2 to 3 years after cancer, every day
Hmm.
I did for at least 20 to
Yeah,
30 minutes.
that's great. Yeah, I think about you saying it, you practice, the healthy habits and all of that. I feel like meditation for me helps me, and I have to keep practicing at it because if I skip a few days, it's
You fall out
really,
of it.
yeah, yeah. It's, even for little things like memory and like, why did I come into this room?
Yeah. Yeah. All those
Yeah,
fun perimenopause, menopause.
exactly. Exactly. Like,
Yes.
I know I had a mission that I was coming in here for.
Yeah, that definitely happens to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And meditation, I feel like it really, it helps me focus more. It helps me get clarity. It helps me stay present with whoever I'm speaking with.
Yeah.
And, um, yeah, I just really need to practice it regularly or I fall out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's, I think,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Well, and that you heard, I mean, going back to you hearing the calling and the reminder of your mission, that's cool that you were present enough to hear it.
Yeah, and I think I found my cancer intuitively also. I wasn't really,
Really?
yeah, I wasn't, I was having, I was like, I think I went to the doctor in April of 2016 for my annual exam, and I started
Mhm.
having weird thoughts of like cancer. And I remember asking her at that appointment, a couple of my friends are getting diagnosed with breast cancer or whatever. I think another one had thyroid at the time. And I just was like, what kind of symptoms would I be experiencing if I had cancer? And, she was like,
Uh-huh.
you're healthy, you're fine, you have nothing to worry about. And so I dismissed it. But as the months went on, I remember also standing at work and washing my hands in the bathroom, and I kind of just was like, there's something here. I thought it was like my stomach, not my, I didn't think anything of my kidneys, but I thought it was like in this
Huh?
area. And so September finally comes around and I'm having dreams. I'm waking up thinking about cancer, hearing cancer in like all the shows, the videos that I was watching on social media, on billboards,
Hmm.
everywhere I went was cancer. And I went into the doctor and I was like, there's something going on here. Um, and I would love it. I want to know what's happening. So she was like, okay, well, we'll do blood work and we'll do like a chest x-ray or something. And I was like, fine. So those
Hmm.
came back fine. She sent me home. 10 days later, I like had a panic attack and I went back in. I'm like, I need to know what is going on inside. I need to see inside. I need a CT scan. And she's like, well, we don't just do CT scans for anyone who requests a CT scan. And I said, I just need to know. Like, I need to know for my peace of mind. And basically
Yeah.
went over, got the CT scan done. I think she made something up, like I was having stomach pains or something like that. And
Were you having were you
no,
having any issues
no,
like physically you didn't feel any
no,
symptoms of it?
no.
Just
Yeah, just
just
intuitive.
intuition.
Yeah. And 2 hours later, sure enough, I got a call from her and she said, well, we found a 3-inch mass on your kidney. And
Oh my God.
yep. And in 2 hours, you have an appointment with a urologist and an oncologist. We've already set it up for you. Just be there. And 3 days later, I was in surgery. So
Oh my goodness.
yeah. Yeah, it went fast. And they had never seen
Wow.
kidney cancer is usually in old men. So like I was in the waiting room for all my appointments afterwards and throughout that treatment. I was
Hmm.
in there with like 80, 90-year-old men. It was
Hmm.
they were like, we've never seen this in a woman your age. And so that was part of the thing where I knew it was for a reason. I knew that was happening to me for a reason. And I knew I needed to know why. So for me,
Hmm.
it wasn't just a case of like, let's get this fixed and then I'm going to move on with my life. It was, no, this is telling me something big.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wow.
And it was like my biggest fear. I think it's everyone's biggest fear is I didn't want to, my biggest fear was that I would get sick and I would leave my children. And it was, and I had to face that. And I think nothing really became clear to me either. My path forward didn't become clear to me until I actually accepted. It took me a while to get to that point where I heard that clarity, that message. Um,
Uh-huh.
I didn't get the clarity until I like actually accepted that I might die. Like I might
Oh.
really, truly, and I became okay with that. And then as soon as I was okay with that and accepted that as part of my reality, then boom,
Hmm.
all the clarity came. It was the most bizarre thing.
Wow. And the clarity came telling you what the path was or
Yeah,
how to start that
yeah,
path.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning, what was it, or what were you drawn to do to get started?
I was just afraid. I was terrified. I was spinning in fear. asking the doctors, why is this happening? I was trying to figure that out. Why is this happening? What created this? I was like very much into the research. Is this genetic? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I was very much in that space, and I wasn't happy with the answers I would get because they would tell me this was just a fluke, and don't worry, in 5 years
A
this is going to
fluke.
be, yeah, fluke. It was just a weird blip, and nobody in your family has cancer, and yeah, it's not genetic, and it just it was a blip. And that to me did not like, that made it worse. So that's, I think, what kind of those answers took me down the path of, well, no, this wasn't a mistake. If my body created this, there was a reason why, and none of you are all
Mm.
telling me, so I'm going to go figure that out. And so that's when I started doing a lot of the work. Louise Hay actually has a book. I can't remember what it's called, but it talks about symptoms and illnesses and relates it to different thoughts in the body. And cancer is a
Oh,
lot
wow.
about self-hatred and a lot about holding on to resentment. And I had a lot of
Wow.
that. Yeah. So, and then kidneys was like toxicity, obviously. And um, yeah, so it was all really about me holding everything in, and the way that I was talking to myself and the thoughts I was holding in, and I wasn't allowing my own creativity to get out. And it just became very clear for me.
Wow. Well, and you think of things that happen in your abdomen, your
Right.
gut reactions to things. And
Right.
I know it's pretty clear when you're saying no to something that your soul is saying yes to, or vice versa, you can feel nauseous pretty easily, or like you've gotten punched in the gut.
Right.
We say
That's
that a
so
lot.
true. Yeah. Yeah, that is so
Hmm.
true.
Wow. But cancer, that's crazy and
Mhm.
scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but that was a long time ago,
Hmm.
almost 10 years,
Yeah, almost 10 years.
and you're healthy.
Yes. I feel like yeah, definitely. I'm going through, I'm 44, so I'm definitely going through the
Mm.
perimenopausal, I'm feeling all the
Yeah.
hormones and the
Yeah.
sleeplessness and the fatigue and the mood changes and all that stuff. But
Hmm.
outside of all that, I feel very, very healthy, very happy, very aligned in my life and in my relationships and with my kids and in my
Mm.
career, and in a completely different place. Everything is in my life because I've put it here. Whereas before it was like
Oh,
everything
wow.
was in my life because I felt it should be there, you know?
Wow. Yeah, exactly. You can live with intention now, or you
Yeah.
choose to live with intention
Yeah. Right.
and purpose. Wow. That's a huge shift.
Yeah, it's a
I
big
think,
one.
yeah, I think a lot of people are going to hear that and think, oh my gosh, how can I do that? The
One
longer you
step at a
do
time,
it,
right? Hmm.
yeah, the longer you do that for other people
Yeah.
or live to others' expectations, the harder it is, I feel like, to, choose your own path.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, because you get so far, like when I started, I mean, whenever people start my programs or working with me, or start reading my book, they can't even remember what they love to do. Like I was the same,
Right.
I couldn't even remember what I love to do. It was like, wait, I have
Yeah.
no idea. And a lot of
Hmm.
times we have to go back to our childhood and, what did you love to do as a child? Were you outside digging in the dirt or getting lost in the woods, or were you playing with Barbies, or did you love arts and crafts, or were you constantly kicking a ball around? I mean, were you around
Yep.
horses and animals, and I don't know, it's like, what did you love to do as a child? And that is a lot of times where people have to go back to, because we're so conditioned to, we don't even think about what we love to do. It's like we just do this because
No,
we have to do it. It's like our life becomes one big checklist of all these things we have to do, and then we wake up the next day and put our feet on the floor and do it all over again, right?
exactly. And it sucks the joy right out of us.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes us sick.
Yes, very much so. I think our bodies, yeah, like Louise Hay calls it dis-ease, right? So like there's a
Oh, yeah.
dis-ease in our way of living. We're not, yeah, it's like a dis-ease causes disease. And I think that's the first
Yeah.
sign of disease in the body, is obvious or always energetic, is what they say.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. I heard a C-suite level manager talking about a key person on the team. And he said, well, she can't leave. We pay her too much.
Right.
you know, I mean, you get used to this level, and that it's hard to break out of that. It's hard to start over, because when you start a business for yourself,
You're starting from scratch.
well, yes and no. I mean, you're starting, the money comes is from scratch,
Right. Yeah.
probably.
Your skill set's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
your skill level, your experience, the
Yeah.
things that you bring to the table, your passion, your
Yeah.
energy, all of that, it
Right.
just builds on itself. So, yeah,
Yeah.
you just have to kind of adjust to make sure that, okay, how can I manage my income? How can I make this work for my obligations, my responsibilities, my family?
Right.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, and building it up too, I think. I mean, most of us work at both at the same time. Like I certainly did as well. I was working in the not-for-profit executive director position full time while I was recovering from cancer, while I was breastfeeding my
Jeez.
baby, while I had my toddler, and then I was building my business on the side. And, I built my business on the side until I felt comfortable leaving my job, and that happened a year later. But people, I think, assume that they have to just leave their job and start their business, but that's actually
Yep.
not right for a lot of people. A lot of people stay in and work it on the side until they feel like they either have enough in savings or their business is at a place where it's ready to go if they just need more
Hmm.
time to focus on it.
Right. Right. And for some people, I feel it's me, especially, it's hard to juggle all of that. You feel a lot of responsibility towards your corporate thing or towards the thing that you're doing for someone else.
Right.
You can put
Yeah.
yourself on the back burner. Well, isn't that convenient? Now
Yeah.
you've put yourself on hold again. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always easier to do that. Well, that's I think where the intention comes into play is like unless you put yourself first and you start taking steps towards creating what you want, it's never going to happen because there's never going to be a right
Yeah.
time. Nobody else is going to make the time for you to do it.
Right.
You have
Or
to do
give
it
you
the
the
correct way.
things,
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's exciting though, because it gives you a lot of power.
Yeah.
When you think of it, you just have to grab it, have to take it and run with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you do.
And sometimes need a coach to help you through it.
I always have a coach. Yes. I'm never
Wonderful.
without. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Erica, what's the name of your book?
It's called Awaken Your Purpose.
Okay, cool. And we can find that on Amazon and
Yep, it's on
or
Amazon, it's on Kindle, it's on Audible. It should be here in the next couple of weeks out on like iBooks and yeah, like Barnes and Noble. It should be out all the places here shortly, but
nice.
yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll be sure to put links to that and to
Great. Thank
your
you.
website in the show notes and stuff.
Amazing.
Something else I always like to do to bring it around to something super fun at the end of
Yeah.
my episodes. Um, do you have a favorite drink? Because I feel like wine and cocktails bring us together, especially a girlfriend.
Yes, they definitely do. I know. I love this. I mean, well, actually, this is so interesting. I am coming up to my 4 years of being sober.
Okay.
But my favorite drink, so whenever I do go out with wine, with my girls and they're having wine and margaritas, my go-to was always a margarita. I always loved a
Uh-huh.
margarita on the rocks with salt was my go-to. But
Mm-hmm.
now I do a little bit of kombucha with some sparkling water and then like some
Yes.
fruit on top. So like either some squeezed lemon or some berries and
Mm.
boom, I'm right in there with the mix. So
Exactly. Mocktails are really having a moment.
they are having a moment. There's a lot of people that are playing with them right now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. And they're festive too, and there's no reason that you can't participate with other girlfriends,
Yeah.
and have whatever you like.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. And sometimes people, like if I am with people that don't know that I'm sober, even if I just order a sparkling water and put a little lime in it, they still think
Yeah.
they think I'm right,
Ah,
like they don't even
that
question
could be in G&T or
vodka soda, G&T, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love
Yeah.
it. I
Hmm.
love it. Okay, so do you have a favorite memory with girlfriends?
Oh my gosh, of course. Yes, so many. Oh my gosh, of course. I would say, actually, one of my most favorite memories probably was when I was living abroad in Australia and in Sydney. There's the wine region is called the Hunter Valley, and it's like an hour
Oh
and a half
yeah.
north of Sydney. Yeah, and so the thing to do in Sydney is to go up to the Hunter Valley and stay in like the wine region and the
Oh.
cozy little, they have the Airbnbs and the fires, and the weather's usually a bit colder and rainier. And so we went there for a couple of girls' weekends actually, and just spent the whole weekend catching up and doing wine tours stores and eating cheese and sampling olive oils and olives and breads and just, oh my gosh, like heavenly gourmet restaurants and yeah, lots of fun
That
memories
sounds
made in the Hunter Valley.
amazing.
Yes, everyone
Yeah.
should add that to their bucket list for sure.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it definitely. Well, I do a thing called wine camp with another friend.
Fun. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. We join we go to different wine regions, and so far we've been domestic. So we've been going to
Okay.
wine regions that maybe people aren't so not used to or wouldn't have gone to on their own.
Yeah.
And it's when you don't know about a particular region, it's a little bit more intimidating. You don't know where to go, you don't know where to stay, and all of
True.
the things. So we coordinate all of that. But Australia is on our list for a future wine camp experience.
Yeah, and if you want an even cooler one, so I also lived in Perth, which is on the west side of Australia. Not many
Oh,
people know
yes.
there. And my in-laws, I'm divorced now, but my in-laws were from the wine region 3 hours south of Perth. So I spent
Mm.
a lot of time down there, and that is like really, really remote and so beautiful and so bizarre. I mean, like literally koalas and kangaroos and wallabies
Oh, wow.
everywhere. And yeah, it's a really cool place. Beautiful white beaches with white sand. It's called the
Mm.
Margaret River region, and that's a
Yes.
great place for wine too.
Oh my gosh.
So good.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Yeah. Margaret River and the Hunter Valley.
Yeah. Well, and then also, if you're going to Australia, you have to hit Barossa.
Yes, for sure. Yes, most
Yes.
definitely. Yeah.
Adelaide, all that. Yeah, for sure. Hmm?
Yeah. Amazing. So
It's a
fun.
big country. There's a lot to see.
Yeah, you definitely need a few months, that's for sure.
Yeah. And you were there for 10 years?
Yeah, I was there for 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might have to hit you up for some of these
Oh yeah,
ideas.
absolutely. I have seen every single corner of that country. So
Wow.
definitely, yeah, hit me up. I've seen it all.
Awesome. I have another very good friend who grew up in Australia and now lives in not far from me when we're in Florida, which is super fun. Erica, I am so grateful to get to meet you and to hear your story. And I'm grateful that you are just healthy and wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Is there anything that you'd like to share that I didn't ask you or that you'd want to share with my audience?
I think the only thing is, I think so many of us do get caught up in the rat race of life and just really remembering that, we are here, like our souls did come here for a reason and our stories count. And I think everything that we've been through in life has happened for a reason. I think there's so much that we can turn our pain into our purpose. And so many people, who are thinking like, why is this happening to me? And why is life so unfair? It's like, how can we really shift that and utilize that to go out and have an impact and maybe help other people through what you've been through and looking at the meaning at things in life from a different perspective is can be so beautiful.
That's a great perspective. Yeah, because when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to imagine that, well, this is for a greater good or this is going to turn out okay.
Yeah, right. It's so hard, but that's what has
Hmm.
gotten me through so much of the hardships in my life. And I have been through it. And it's always I know that I'm growing through this and that this is going to, someday be a book like it is, right? Or someday, and it's going to be this to help these people or women do this. And yeah, I truly do see all of those hardships and challenges as growth. And we can definitely turn them into something positive down the road.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank,
so much, Penny.
thank you. It was great to meet you.
You too. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Penny for Your Shots. If you loved today's conversation, don't let the inspiration stop here. Get my weekly insider updates straight to your inbox. It's where I spill behind the scenes goodies, exclusive tips, and all the fun stuff I don't always share on the podcast. Sign up now at pennyforyourshots.com/insider. I'll see you in your inbox next Thursday. Cheers!